like you walked us all through a really neat experience, and it had a lot to do with stigma. And I think as someone who was in the audience that day, I got to watch people go from being like, "Oh, that must be so annoying to like experience that while you're trying to perform," to being like, "Oh man, like dude, that guy's having such a good time." And he's like, actually kind of looks like he's part of the performance all of a sudden. And like, was this rehearsed? And then it just went on for so long that because you made it cool, and I'm sure like that's, like as an artist, you want to make sure that you're being respectful. But at the same time, like, are you aware that because you're so gracious and comfortable to be around, that that it actually has like a massive impact on your audience and what they're experiencing?
Yeah, I think for the most part, like aside from being aware that there could be dangers with that, um, I'm always cognizant of the fact of someone having a good time and like always want to make people feel part of the show anyway. And my music has always been very inclusive, very like connecting. So like if someone's coming up and dancing, I'm not gonna shut that down. Like I'm not gonna um like there was one person that was like, "Hey man, give me the mic. I want to rap about what I'm going through." And I was kind of like, "Well, no, this is kind of my part of the show. Afterwards, I'm sure the mic's available for you if you want to go talk to Robbie, but like for now, I'm just going to do my thing, you know." But as far as like yeah, bringing that guy into the show was just natural for me because he was having a good time. He wasn't hurting anybody. He was completely harmless. But like you said, there was people on the sidelines like, should we grab this guy? Like,
Yeah.
should we get him out of here? Even my buddy was like, yo, like, and I was like, no, that was cool, man. Like, and he had a great time. You know what I mean? And then once I embraced that and was made him part of the show, everyone was cheering for him. Everyone was like bigging him up, and he got props at the end, and he was just super stoked. You know what I mean? He gave me a big hug and was like, that was really cool. And he might not have even remembered being there the next day,
Yeah,
you
maybe
know,
not.
but the fact of the matter was we made his day that day. So that was what it was about for me. And I mean, he was a great hype man too, you know. So
Totally. Yeah, totally. Yeah, I totally. And I think like I think that it's like being reflective is super great, but in the moment I was like that could yeah, again, like as being in the audience, I was like, man, like it's cool to watch, to be able to like walk through a situation like that. And it must be really interesting to kind of like read the room in like real time, because obviously like those situations can go south like really quickly. But yeah, I wanted to like acknowledge it and just like extend a massive like lovely olive branch, because I think the more that people act like that and are kind to each other, the quicker it is to like end maybe the stigma, or at least create more conversation. Because I know that that's exactly what happened, in my household that day, and I was like, this is it's really beautiful to
yeah,
experience.
I think like I said to you that day, everyone deserves human compassion and respect to
Mm,
a certain level, you know. He wasn't being aggressive. He wasn't being a jerk. He wasn't trying to interrupt the show.
yeah,
And I can judge all those things, like you said, on the fly. I'm a very good judge of danger, character, trauma,
yeah,
crazy, bad, and good experiences. So I just felt like the energy was right. He was just there to have a good time. So I was there to try and enhance that good time, but also let everyone else know that
yeah.
he was harmless and everything was good. You know, because like you said, it can break down that wall of stigma where everyone's like, oh, who the is this guy? Like, where really it turned out to be like, oh, this guy is Ernie and he's having a blast. So
Yeah, it's totally wicked. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
let's just let him have a blast. You know?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, shout out to Ernie, and sorry for calling him out in this podcast. I was like, what a great example, like to kind of shed a light on. I actually know him personally, so I have no problem talking about his business.
Oh yeah, he is a beauty. Yeah,
But yeah, yeah, absolutely. I'm just looking at the time here, so I'm gonna let you wrap this up and go and do your thing today. But thank you so much for cutting me in for a couple of
thanks
minutes.
for having me. I'll come back anytime. You know that.
Yeah, totally.
So
So
yeah,
much.
shout out to
Yeah.
Pinecase, sorry,
No.
podcast, Pinecase podcast. And shout out to Calico. I can see you down there. Shout out to everybody that tuned in. Um, I really appreciate you guys for having me on. Thank you for Kaleisha to have me on as well. If you want to find me, you can find me at SirReal.ca, SirReal Music Official, anywhere you want to find me. So
yeah, you guys, if you haven't already, go and head over there, like, share, comment, and subscribe. That is music you will never regret listening to. It plays all the time in my